Yeah. If they don't like it, they can stay mad as hell. We don't apologize. Make them mad, make them lose their mind. Say it too real, watch them fall behind. Let them talk shit while we rise instead. Fuck their opinions, make them mad, make them mad, make them see red. Every damn word goes straight through their head. No fake smiles, no peace to add. We just show up and make them mad. I built this lane out of broken glass. Why they fake laugh? I just outlast. Back row grip with a digital bite. Turn every comment into a fight. They want me quiet, they want me tame, but I'm too damn loud for their little game. I don't fit boxes, I break the frame, and I carve my truth right into the name. Let them screenshot, let them complain. I turn their hate into propane. One spark hits and the whole thing blows. That's just how this damn channel goes. Make them mad, make them lose their mind. Say it too real, watch them fall behind. Let them talk shit while we rise instead. Fuck their opinions, make them mad, make them mad, make them see red. Every damn word goes straight through their head. No fake smiles, no peace to add. We just show up and make them mad. Talk real tough on a glassy screen, but fold like cheap chairs when it gets mean. I don't chase trends, I chase impact, and I leave a mark that don't fade back. This ain't for clout, this ain't for fame, it's for the ones who remember the name. Aggressive defiance carved in steel. Say what I want, don't ask how they feel. They got a problem, they can line up next. I don't do threats, I just redirect. Turn their noise into content fuel and watch them lose the cool, looking like fools. Yeah, they wanted silence, they got volume instead. They wanted calm, we brought chaos. Make them mad,
Make them mad,
make them lose
make
their
them
mind.
see
Say
their
it too real, watch them fall behind. Let them talk shit while we rise instead. Fuck their opinions, make them
Make
mad,
them
mad, make them see red. Every damn word goes straight through their head. No fake smiles, no peace to add. We just show up loud and make
every
them
make
mad.
them mad. Yeah, what's up, everybody?
Aggressive defiance reacts. Aggressive as fuck.
What's up, my peeps? How the heck are y'all? Hold on a minute here. Let me do something. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, man. Sorry, man. Sorry, y'all. What's good, everybody? How the heck are y'all tonight? Tonight? What is good? Wow, man. Good to see y'all. How's everybody's day went, man? Mine's been pretty damn good, y'all. Switch the chat settings to all of them, she said. What's up, everybody? What's up, Scene? How you doing, man? Let me turn some light back on here. I was over here chilling in the dark, y'all. What's up, Caitlin? Happy weekend to you. Hi, little bit of Lisa. Hi, Brooks and Gardens. Cuddle Monster in the house. Teresa in the house. I see you, Arista. Good to see you, beautiful people in here. T. Roland. What's up, T. Roland? How the hell are you, Linsky? Nazreen. Good to see you, Nazreen. Ecker. What's up, Ecker? Chrissy with a K. I love you, Chrissy with a K. I love y'all, man. Hi, Twist. Hi, Jackal. Hank Bridges. What's up, Hank? Salute, my man. Good to see y'all. Hillbilly. What's up, Hillbilly? Everybody in full effect. Little bit of Lisa. How you doing there, doll baby? My fortune cookie said I was going to have some love coming into my life, but I don't see it yet. How are you, Leesky? We're going to be going over some things. There was a video dropped by Law and Crime Network. It's titled 21 Disturbing Details in the Ohio House of Horrors case. If we can get through this, I'm going to try to get through this fast. It's a 48-minute video, though. So we're going to try to get through this quick, man. See what we know. Also, there are some Facebook posts we're going to go over. It's going to be a surprise, love. I can't wait. What's up, Kimmy? What up, Kimmy KO? So I'm going to bring you on into this, and I'm going to probably stick it on a little higher speed than normal. And I want to hear what all he's got to say about this. Because I'm going to be truthful with you. Let's see if I can find this Facebook post. I'll bring it up for y'all. Shout out to the person sending me these posts. You know who you are. One post is from the Robbie Harvey. In this post, it says, as you can see, the post is made by the Robbie Harvey. And the post says, well, here we go. For the first time, we're starting to get a different story, and it comes from Elizabeth Sider's attorney. Tom Stoley has issues with the prosecutors and how they have painted this case. He said there's no evidence the children were confined to a 12 by 12 room and not allowed outside. He also takes issue with officials calling it pure evil. Of course he would, because he's an attorney. He says Elizabeth has always wanted a big family, and all of the children were born in a hospital. I've independently confirmed through sources that multiple children were born in Gallipolis, Ohio, and actually had doctors overlooking their care. According to Stoley, multiple kids had phones and even social media pages. He takes issue with officials using the term almost feral because it paints a picture the children had zero contact with the outside world. Officials also said the children could barely communicate and some cannot even speak at all. Stoley has filed for Elizabeth's release. To be released as of now, she continues to sit in jail. All right. We got another post from a guy named Eddie Powell. Eddie Powell says, the deeper I dig into this Siders family history, the more the narrative shifts from coincidence to a deeply concerning pattern. While piecing together this timeline, one chapter in particular demands to be heard: the 2002 marriage of Richard Siders and Tessie. Richard is the brother of Gary Siders Sr. and uncle to Gary Siders Jr. The numbers don't lie. In 2002, the state of Ohio, a judge signed off on a marriage between a 48-year-old man and his 14-year-old pregnant bride. This wasn't a relic of the 1800s. This was the turn of the 21st century, a systematic failure. The details of this court approval are infuriating. The judge's stance. When questioned years later, the judge who approved the union claimed he only vaguely remembered the case. Lack of oversight. There was no intervention with Child Protection Services. No prosecutors were involved. A child's future was decided in a vacuum, with the court failing to provide the most basic safeguards. The legal loophole. Legal experts interviewed on this case have stated flatly, law enforcement should have been alerted. The fact they weren't speaks volumes about the culture of that time and place. Tessie eventually broke her silence while she expressed that she does not regret her own path. Her reflection on the matter is a chilling indictment of the system. Yes, some get pregnant before 18, but if the father truly loves her, he'll wait the years to marry her. I agree. I totally agree on that one. And first of all, why would a 40-something-year-old man be sleeping with a 14-year-old? I don't want to hear nothing. Tessie now stands as an advocate for change, firmly believing that the age of 18 should be the absolute non-negotiable floor for marriage. She is a voice for the version of herself that was denied the right to her childhood. This is the uncle to that Gary Siders guy. This is the uncle to him. Why this matters. This isn't just about one marriage. It's about a family culture where child marriage appears to have been normalized. From Elizabeth marrying at 15 to Gary's junior sister doing the same. So the grandpa's oldest sister did the same exact thing at 14. This is an indoctrination, y'all. This is an indoctrination. The family tree is marred by these unions. Richard Siders passed away in September of 2025, but his marriage to Tessie lasted over 2 decades. A lifetime built on a foundation that never should have been allowed. Wow. The records are public, the history is clear, and the questions remain. Who was protecting these children? And how did this become standard procedure in Gallia County? And there he is with his, family. Sick son of a bitch. Look how clearly older he is, bro. Look how clearly older this man is. Evening. Sounds like a cult. That's what I mean by indoctrination. It said they saw an obituary of the grandmother. Each daughter or daughter-in-law had minimum of 10 kids, 38 grandchildren. Yeah. Anybody marrying someone under the age of 18, she's a sicko. She's a sicko. That person is a sicko, man. He looks very incest himself. Is incest like a look? I don't think everyone gets that look, because I do believe it probably passes generations or skips generations, and then one part of that generation will get that look, sort of like what the Whitakers had, or like any incest, All right, let's bring this in and let's hear what Law and Crime had to say. It seems like a lot of people are saying that she was indoctrinated and that she didn't have a say whatsoever. And that could be the case. That very well could be the case.
Just to look in their eyes is terrible.
But all that is just the beginning. There's reports of an indecent exposure charge. Medical bills so severe they could bankrupt a county, a child bride, and even...
Hold on. Medical bills so severe they could bankrupt a county. Well, you had 16 children. Shit. Having babies ain't cheap. Yeah. Yeah, things change a little bit, Lisa. Things change. These people are a lot of these people, if you haven't noticed, they're in the country. They probably don't have a lot of outside world knowledge. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking.
Conjoined twins. So what do the accused have to say for themselves?
It's not illegal for something to be dirty. It's not illegal for a home to be unkept.
That's a defense attorney for one of the defendants, and we'll hear more from him later. But first, one of the only phrases we've heard so far from the accused child abusers is this little clip.
And how do you plead? Stop. This is not the time.
They don't even know, guys. They don't even know. Like, she doesn't even have a clue what to even say, man.
Stop. This is not the time for you to argue your case. These are serious allegations.
We're taking a deep dive into this case, breaking down all the leads, debunking rumors, highlighting the facts, and even hearing from Law and Crime's very own Anjanette Levy, the host of Crime Fix, about her research in this case. But first, let's begin with a scene setter. Today's scandal takes us to Vinton County, Ohio, a small county with a population less than 13,000. Here's Ohio prosecutor and former Deputy Attorney General Mark Weaver.
This is Southern Ohio. This is Appalachia. That doesn't excuse anything. It's just explanatory. Families with that many children in Appalachia is already pretty unusual. You don't see families with 7, 8, 9, 10 or more children typically in Appalachia. And then if you do, you certainly wouldn't see them confined in such a small room or such a small house.
Yeah.
This is one of the smallest counties in Ohio, Vinton County, one of the poorest counties in Ohio.
For the past 4 years, Vinton County, Ohio, has been home to the Siders family. 73-year-old Gary.
Man. What's the looks of it? What do you guys think off just the look? What do you guys think just by looking at this feller? And we shouldn't be we shouldn't be judging books by covers. We know that. But what do you guys think just off the look of this guy? Is he there? Does he know what's going on? Is he part of this? Looks like he has dementia. You can see he's mean and wicked. I'm saying to judge it. I'm asking you guys to judge it. I know we shouldn't, but like we all do.
Siders Sr., his wife, 67-year-old Christina Siders, who goes by the name.
She looks mean as fuck too. She looks very mean. Yeah, he looked a little filthy, didn't he? Now her, on the other hand, she looks a little ornery to me. She looks mean, right? Okay, like she looks mean. He looks meanest out of all of them. I think he and his son are a dirty kind of people. I think the son was raised, it was okay. That would make her a dirty kind of person too, wouldn't it? He almost looks like a man.
Lynn, their son, 36-year-old Gary Siders Jr., and his wife, 33-year-old Elizabeth.
What do you guys think of him? What do you guys think? What's up, Smurf? Diet Pepsi, hello. Look brainwashed. Looks devious and trashy. I'm not medical, but why am I in my eyes? He's a sick lowlife who shouldn't be around allowed the BS. Yeah, this is the main perpetrator right here, if you ask me. This guy right here. They say the word through the grapevine is he was set to take over the family and just failed at doing so. You know, he just failed at doing so.
Elizabeth Siders. On June 30th,
Now, let's take a look at this one. What do you guys think there? addiction or just slow. He looks like the abuser. She looks like Durkee's wife's mom. Her poor body. Me too, Regina. I try to too. She looks like she's lost, been abused, looks drugged out. I do kind of feel bad for her. Not gonna lie, I do too. She looks broken. Leslie says broken. Angela, grandma's too quiet. Tells me woman didn't have a say in the house. A wreck, lack of sleep. Mentally and physically. Looks like she was wearing glasses or something too. Something on her nose.
30th, a search warrant was executed on their home in Vinton County. And there's been some confusion here. Some reports initially said the warrant was related to Gary Jr.'s public indecency charge. And Gary does face that allegation for 4 reported incidents between May 23rd and May 31st. But that's not what the search warrant was related to. Here's Gary Sr.'s attorney, Dorian Baum.
It would seem pretty odd for a couple of misdemeanor counts of indecent exposure to generate the type of response that happened at this house. I would also be very interested to see what this search warrant said, what the basis for the search warrant was, how they were able to obtain such a search warrant, because I have a hard time believing, first of all, if all it was an arrest warrant, then none of this could have happened. So clearly it wasn't just those charges, because if it were, they would have a simple arrest warrant. They would ask for Mr. Siders Jr. to come out, and that would have been the end of it. So obviously there was more there. I'm sure that I and all of my other colleagues who are representing the co-defendants will all be very interested to see what the basis for the search warrant was.
We'll talk more about that during our interview.
Wow.
But so
Some attorneys, man, attorneys are just so fucking, they're the shadiest motherfuckers on the planet, guys. Doctors can be too, but attorneys, they wake up, go to work to lie every day. They wake up and have to establish lies to tell. You know? What's up, Yada? You got to wake up and establish untruth to tell people. And I feel like they're trying to get these parents off, and they're not worried about how the kids were doing and how the kids got into that kind of situation. You know? And I feel like that's what the attorneys are doing in their cases. Like, they're just like trying to get them off of something that attorneys are shady, man.
Ohio officials are keeping tight-lipped about why they were there in the first place. All we know is that they were there to serve a search warrant and came across a scene no one expected.
I've been doing these types of cases for a long time. I spent a big portion of my career dedicated to prosecuting these types of cases. And I can tell you this is pure evil, what we saw.
No one said about anything about vegetable oil. Her hair was just greasy from not washing it.
All down here today is pure evil. And I have to commend the deputies from the Vinton County Sheriff's Office and our agents from Ohio VCI and I, who went into really kind of one of the worst environments that I've seen in my career, and were there for those children in their time of need.
Inside the home, first responders found a 12 by 12 room, home to 16 children, ages ranging from 1.5 to 18.5.
We will tell you that several of the children are in serious condition. 2 of the children had to be care flighted to level 1 trauma centers because of the nature of the injuries, and it's very, very serious, obviously.
The age.
Oh, if the kids had to be flown to the hospital. OG Cider looks like a Whitaker. That's what a lot of people are saying. Yeah, there's been a lot of info coming out.
She actually refused to discuss the kids' emotional state and would only comment on their medical condition.
I will tell you this, their medical condition was so severe that the number one concern of the folks who are law enforcement officials who were there at the scene was getting them medical treatment, getting them to safety, to the point where literally their lives were in danger at the time.
When first responders got a look at the conditions and the sheer number of children, they knew they had to call for backup. Multiple agencies were deployed in this case, including the Hamden Fire Department, Vinton County EMS, Jackson County EMS, Jackson County Sheriff's Office, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, and of course, the Ohio Attorney General's Office.
It came as no surprise to me that the Vinton County prosecutor is partnering with the Ohio Attorney General office, where I used to work as the Deputy Attorney General, and because there's many more resources available, both through the state's Bureau of Criminal Investigation, which is the premier unit of investigators in the state, and through the special prosecution section of the Attorney General's office. So normally a small town prosecutor's office like Vinton would have 3 or 4 prosecutors who do felony cases at most. So they're going to need the help of the Attorney General's office to bring this significant case with lots of evidence and lots of troubling details.
Before we get into the charges and allegations, rest assured they do come. Let's first talk about the kids. According to officials, they don't even have access to birth certificates for all of the kids. But from the information we're gathering, there are 16 total. And that means Elizabeth Siders was pregnant almost every single year from 2008 until 2025.
Think about that, dude. Think about that for a fucking second, man. You've been pregnant all that time? Oh, my Lord.
Here's how it all breaks down. She had children in 2008, 2009, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2016, 2017, 2019, 2020. And in 2022, 2024, and 2025, she had twins. And
Jesus Christ, the last 4 pregnancies were twins. The last 4 were twins. Yeah, she's beaten down, man. So, like, she's giving birth to all these kids and 2 at once. Imagine giving birth 18 times. Ain't no way. I wouldn't put my woman through it. I couldn't do it. That's torture, man. Yeah, just a baby making machine, man.
we'll note that the twins born on November 20th, 2022, Bailey and Faith, were conjoined twins born at the hospital. Now, they were born prematurely and died of natural causes. And there also may have been more children who were stillborn. That's something we're still working to confirm. But at present, Elizabeth and Gary Jr. have 16 kids that are alive. And their ages are 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18. And keep in mind, there are some twins in there. And I also want to note there.
Holy moly. Holy moly, dude. They think she's pregnant now. Yep. Yep. They think she's pregnant now. Yeah, I bet the conjoins were identical for sure. I wonder how many of them were identical. Because I had a friend of mine. He has got a identical twin sister, but he's a boy, but he has an identical twin sister. Looks just like him, but it's a girl. Yeah, she's had to be fertile, boy. That's a whole lot of fucking, guys. That's a whole lot of getting down. Like, that is a whole lot of getting down. How do you even get down that much when you've already got that many kids? Like, what have they seen? Like, seriously. Like, you know how much you got to be screwing to have kids like that all the time? Like, where were these children? Like, you've already got that many kids and you're still screwing in this house. Like, I'm sure these children have seen, like, and heard some of the craziest shit. Not only being pregnant for 20 years, but popping these things out, going through the birth. Like, it is gross. It's actually fucking sickening. Yeah, they say that's the best time to get pregnant is right after you have a baby. But that's also the best time to not get pregnant. You know what I mean? To not be trying to fuck. Like, you're supposed to let your spouse heal. You're supposed to, like, give her, like, some space for herself. Like, there's a lot of postpartum that goes into things like this. Yeah, they say a lot of them were hospital births, and the hospital just kept birthing them and sending them home.
Has been some discussion about the oldest person at age 18 being considered a child. Here's what officials have to say about that.
The young person's mental capacity, she is, we believe, developmentally disabled.
I imagine.
Spell her name at 18, and so she is developmentally still a minor.
And that leads to the condition of all 16 kids.
Some of these children could be speech. Yeah. So I mean, we're talking. This is very. It was terrible. I mean, they looked like almost feral animals. It was terrible. So when we're talking reading and writing and education, we're talking a whole other level of expectations here. Like it's hard enough just to get these kids to be able to the 18-year-old can't spell it.
According to officials, there's no sign any of the kids were born at the house, but that's still under investigation, as is the grotesque condition in which they were discovered.
It was disgusting even where the kids weren't. I would think it's typical. Most law enforcement have experience with homes in a similar fashion. A large number.
Oh, thank you, L-Cat. Appreciate you. Chrissy with a K. Thank you. She said, great live. I appreciate you, Chrissy with a K. L-Cat said, Carmen needs some treats. He's up here behind the TV. Karma. Hi, the kitty. Thank you, guys. I appreciate both of you ladies. Much love to you. Thank you for supporting the stream. I just got bored with the back and forth, y'all. I did.
Right now, 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 right now.
Yeah, aren't there like things in the system to where like these kids should be seeing doctors and like apparently I think what has happened is she's had kids at different hospitals. Like each place she's moved, she's probably had 3 kids and then she moved again.
Number of people, though, the children were kept in a roughly 12 by 12 area. It seems like it's where they've spent the most of the last 4 years, and that's what it looks like. In a weird way, you're hit with most 2 emotions. There is joy when we realize that we're about to change 16 lives for the better, but you're also it's hard.
These people have been here for about 4 years, and we would talk to some people who live in the neighborhood who said, I had no idea that kids were people. And talking about, somebody asked about, to describe the conditions, adding on to what the sheriff said. I didn't actually go into the room where
Thank you, Lisa.
Through the door. I was just, I can still smell, I can't get the smell. I cannot get the smell off of me or away from me right now. We were just talking about that a little while ago. And then we were talking as a group about some of the evidence we looked at today, where they actually discovered the kids and found the kids. And it really, it's not that different to those old commercials you used to see of kids in Africa, like just where they're covered in bugs and squatting and had that distant look in their eyes. It's terrible. I mean, it is absolutely terrible. And
hospital hopping. Yep.
Kids are safe. You got to make sure they're placed in good, solid therapeutic placements, and we have to hold accountable the people who are willing to do this to their own family.
So let's talk about the family, all the adults.
Yeah, they said that the kids never went outside.
Have been charged with endangering children, which we'll get to in a second. But first, their backstory. The parents here are Gary Jr. and Elizabeth, only 36 and 33 respectively. And that means Elizabeth was only 15 years old when she had her first baby. This came just months after she married Gary Jr. And you heard that right, by the way. Married. This was back in 2008. Elizabeth was 15 years old and Gary Jr. was 18. Now, it wasn't legal to get married in Ohio for someone only 15, but just across the border in West Virginia, Elizabeth was legally allowed to get married with parental approval, so she did. Elizabeth's uncle-in-law told local TV station WOWK13, quote,
she did not have a very good home life when they got together, and she escaped to Christina and Gary's house, which was back then a normal American home. So what happened? What happened then? Well, I mean, what happened? Oh, you got your t-shirt? Okay. Sorry it takes so long, man. I don't know what's up with the company. The company takes their time, and I think it's because they're like, everything that they print for me is custom. So they have to take my design, put it onto a press, print one fucking shirt. So they're probably shitty about that, but oh well. Fuck them. Right on, Brooks. Appreciate your love.
Right now, 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 right now.
I'm trying to find that out now, Teresa. Like I'm stalking Facebook and shit. But yeah, I heard one report of them squatting at that house, and that's why they went. That's what I've seen one report of that they were squatting there, and that's why the police really came. Or there was a few different reasons why the police showed up, and squatting was one of them, I believe.
She did not have a very good home life when they got together, and she escaped to Lynn, Christina, and Gary's house, which was back then a normal American home. Over the last 2 decades, the family has moved around a lot.
We know that they have ties to Callaway County. There was some talk that they may have been down in Pike County. There was some talk that possibly in Jackson County. There was some talk that they were up in Wisconsin for a little bit. And it appears that they've been back here in Vinton County for about 4 years.
Elizabeth's brother, Jeremy, has claimed that she was indoctrinated. And we'll talk about...
I said that shit. I said it. I said it, man. I said it, man. She's indoctrinated, dude. They got this bitch believing that she's going to have babies for Christ, y'all. I'm not trying to call her a bitch, you know what I mean? But should the owner had passed? Yeah, so they were squatting, and probably nothing was happening to them, so they just stayed. You know, who wouldn't? I mean, I myself would try to figure out how to pay the man and where's my landlord at, you know, but I don't know. Some people live a lot differently than others, man. Apparently. I said that, man. That's been my go-to since the very beginning. She was indoctrinated. That's it. And her brother thinks that. So this family has probably made her believe certain things, you know? And some of it might have a religious tie to it. Or something else kind of tied to it. You know what I mean? You never know. But indoctrination, let's look up the definition of indoctrination. The process of teaching a person or group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. So they get a person to believe something without having any like no critical thinking to it at all. Second day in a row, get it cracking, McCracken. What do you think about that? Woohoo! Shout out to
Right now, 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 right now.
That's sad though for her mom not to care, Arista. It is. Yeah, she probably believes there's like a certain outcome that's going to come from like living like this, or like maybe even taught that living this way isn't bad, you know? Like, what's up, Justin? Like, maybe just being taught that living like this wasn't bad when we all know it's horrible. To have 16 kids in a fucking house that small, anyways, unthinkable. You need at least a fucking 6-bedroom house for 16 kids. Shit, more than that. Hell, you need a fucking. You need a mansion.
this more with Anjanette. We're not really sure what that meant. I mean, indoctrinated into what? We can take some clues from his social media posts, though. On June 30th, he wrote, quote, "My sister just wrapped her life up due to indoctrination. It is 100% real. 20 kids and younger than me. The math equals immature piece of explicit man involved."
Yep, immature piece of shit man involved. I met this dude a couple months ago, shook my hand like a baby. With super soft hands, definitely never worked a day in his life. You go, boy.
I met this dude a couple months ago. Shook my hand like a baby would. Super soft hands. Definitely never worked a day in his life. I should have took him out that night. I was thinking about it, but my sister, I was happy to see. Been 15 years. You lost touch with your family, followed another. Look what happened. On July 5th, he posted another status. It reads, quote, "This is what I think. Slap on the wrist. You cannot be charged for ignorance."
Yes, you can. Ignorance does not help you in the fucking law. Just because you're ignorant to a law doesn't mean you can break it. You're wrong, boss. Sorry there, buddy. You're wrong. I hate to tell you, dude, but ignorance does not excuse you from breaking the law. If that's the case, everybody would claim ignorance. Duh. Ignorance does not excuse you from breaking the law, my friend. That's why somehow I still can't believe she's a victim. Because if she allowed this and knew that it was wrong, then you are wrong too. You may seem like you're the victim and everything may check out that you're the victim, but if you knew that it was wrong and you still allowed it and you had a chance to stop it, then you are not a victim. You are part of the problem. I'm not going to even go that route. Shoot, what do you mean raised like this, bro? She was married at 15. She wasn't even raised. She had a lamp cult. She wasn't even raised. So this boy raised her. This young man, Gary Siders Jr. probably raised her, and his mom and dad. And then when it got time for his mom and dad to get sick and old, I guess he didn't know how to be a man. I'm just saying ignorance does not free you from breaking the law. The horror stories is not true.
The horror stories is not true. Nothing is true. My sister and her husband really did do their best to their IQ. Allowance is the one to blame. Low IQ, getting that money, similar. Just like me, only on plus 500 app.
What is this dude even saying? Is he speaking in fucking riddles?
That money with a bit higher IQ. Everything is misunderstood. Their hygiene, low IQ. The man of the house is responsible at most. He is the leader, leading followers. That's what I think. Again, we're going to talk about all of this.
I agree. The man is the fucking problem. Of course he is. Of course he is.
During the interview, the possibility that maybe there was something else going on here, that maybe Elizabeth herself could have been a victim too. And in fact, her defense team is still trying to figure all of that out.
It is my understanding, I believe the prosecutor understanding as well, that my client was the Cyrus has no criminal history. So when the court is looking at deciding what the bond is going to be set at, there are factors that are enumerated out for the court for them to help them make that decision. Ultimately, in this case, there's a lot of attention given the fact that we're all here. And it puts a lot of pressure on the court system. It puts a lot of pressure on me as well. For my client specifically, not having any criminal history, my knowledge not having been charged with failure here starts to mitigate some of those factors. Some of the things that courts will look at in a case like this is what does that criminal history look like? Have you ever been charged with failure to appear? Because we're trying to determine, is this person a flight? At this point in time, we are still not sure, at least at my office, whether my client is a victim herself or not. I previously stated that she is not necessarily characterized herself as a victim, but the investigation from the prosecutor's office, because my office is still ongoing. So, with all of that, taking all of that into consideration, we anticipate filing a motion tomorrow.
There's an interesting reply from the prosecutor about this too, whether Elizabeth herself could be an additional victim.
According to her attorney, she's not a victim.
So we'll let him decide how he wants to address his representation firm.
Victim or not, we still don't know. What we do know is that all 4 adults have been charged in this case. Now, originally it was with 17 counts, and that was later amended to 16.
I'm going to go over it with you because these are serious allegations, and I think it's important that you understand what we are talking about, all right? These complaints are identical. They each contain 16 counts of endangering children, which is a violation of Revised Code 2919-22B1 and 2919-22E2D. All of those counts are felonies of the 2nd degree. All of those accounts allege that you did in Hamden on or about June 30th, 2026.
Did you hear that? Do you guys hear what she's saying? That you did in Hamden on or about this. This is the way people's paperwork reads. There's overt acts, right? I keep saying this in the Patrick shit. There's things that they've got him for. You did this on such and such date. You did this. So that calls for this charge. He ain't telling us. He ain't saying nothing.
Unlawfully abuse a child under the age of 18, and that violation resulted in serious physical harm to that child. Okay.
If the defendants are convicted, here's what they could face.
Each of those felonies of the 2nd degree is punishable by 2 to 8 years as a minimum sentence and a maximum sentence of 12 years in prison, a maximum fine of $15,000, and 18 months to 3 years of post-release control.
All 4 adults appeared in court for the first time on July 2nd.
12
the first
years
two in
is
court were
max.
Gary Sr. and Gary Jr. side by side.
How do you plead? Yes, I will enter a not guilty plea for you at this time then, and you can confer with counsel. Okay? Mr. Siders, would you like me to enter a not guilty plea for you as well? Until you have the chance to speak with an attorney? I will do that.
They were both very quiet, hardly speaking, even when bond was discussed.
Your Honor, may please support this. The state will be requesting a $300,000 cash assurance bond for each defendant. Under the court standard terms and conditions, including special conditions that they have no contact with each other as co-defendants, and they have no contact with victims. And if they are able
I'm sorry to hear that, brother.
GPS monitoring at their expense.
Sorry to hear that,
Do you have anything
man.
to say as to any of that? All right, I will grant the state's request then. It will be a $300,000 cash or surety bond.
It was the same thing for Lynn, Christina, and Elizabeth. The judge explained their charges, read out the ages of the alleged victims, and then asked for a plea. And here's the part I played earlier in this episode when Elizabeth starts to talk back to the judge. I'll let it play out in full this time.
Do you understand these pleas? And how do you plead? Stop. First of all,
She's a pretty young lady, man. Like, it's just sad all the way around, bro. This hurts me because I've got kids. And I know what it took to fucking take care of kids, right? I think they got some benefits, but it wasn't for every single one. I think it's 12 years per child because it's all different acts. They can't lump it into one because it's all different children getting that. She's a pretty little girl, man. She's got the features, you know what I mean? But like, just getting married at that young of an age, it does something to your brain. Probably, it probably makes you believe you got to stay married forever. Nobody else is going to love you. You know what I mean? And who knows what he did to her? Who knows?
I want to remind you of your right to remain silent. This is not the time for you to argue your case. These are serious allegations, and if you are unsure on what to do, I will enter a not guilty plea for you until you can consult with counsel, okay? I also need to advise you that because these cases came before this court on a complaint, as opposed to through an indictment by the grand jury, you have the right to a preliminary hearing. And that's a matter you can discuss with counsel once they're appointed as well, all right? All right. So I will enter not guilty pleas for both of you at this time until you have the opportunity to discuss this case with counsel.
At that time, bond was set for all 4 defendants, $300,000 each. But the problems just kept coming. To start, the children were taken to medical facilities for care and later placed in temporary custody of the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services. But finding a safe place for them could be kind of tough.
Because as you can imagine, placing 16 kids in a county of this size taxes the resources. I have assurances from the governor and from the Department of Children and Youth Governor's staff that they will provide whatever we need, whatever resources we need to support these kids and help protect these kids.
And that's not the only medical expense the county could face.
His medical care could potentially bankrupt Vinton County.
This was a new update just this week when Gary Sr. was given bond and taken to the hospital.
Gary Siders Sr., the older Gary Siders, was provided with a bond today, an OR bond. Let me explain the circumstances around that. First, let me stress, the community is not at risk because of this bond. Yesterday, as you all know, the cases were scheduled for preliminary hearing. During the transport, Mr. Siders fell and had a medical issue that required treatment and assessment. O'Glennis Hospital was where he was taken, and it was determined at that point upon some tests that O'Glennis did that Mr. Siders Sr. has a serious medical condition that requires specialized care in a hospital outside of this area.
Cancer. You want to bet? You want to bet? I bet he just found out he has cancer. Like, what could it be? What's up? What's up, Joss? Your county is supposed to be prepared for things like this. You know? Isn't that why we taxpayers pay their taxes? Yeah. He said it could bankrupt the fucking their economy.
Practically, and I don't know if you folks know this or not, but when defendants are housed in county jails, it is the county's responsibility to pay for the medical care.
Something going on, huh?
Are for defendants who have been convicted. Then the state pays for it. But he's still an innocent man that has not been convicted yet. So the county was going to be on the hook for his medical care. And again, based on the information we were provided.
Damn, that's kind of shitty. They did him that way too, you know it. They kind of pumped him, pushed him back out and said, "We're not taking care of you. We're not taking care of you, dude. You're not, your shit's on your own, buddy." I kind of can dig it.
Potentially bankrupt Vinton County. We were not going to put that burden also on our local taxpayers.
Because of HIPAA laws, we don't know exactly what happened to Gary Sr. or what sort of condition he's in now, except that he has sought medical treatment. There's also been an order for his competency to be evaluated. Here's his attorney again.
Frankly, I've seen what you've seen, which is I saw it appears that he has limited mobility. My understanding is that he had difficulty hearing. It also seemed they had difficulty understanding the judge. So I have some of the same concerns that anyone else might have looking at a person whose competence might be in question. As anyone who knows anything about the law knows, the very first step is to ensure that your client is competent. You can't move forward otherwise. So one of the basic tenets of my criminal defense of Mr. Siders is going to make sure that he's competent to even stand trial, let alone any of the other defenses we might raise. So I guess the short answer is no, I haven't been able to talk to him yet. I don't know anything other than what everyone else has seen, which is what happened at the arraignment, what took place there, et cetera, et cetera.
So the defense has been hard at work getting Gary Sr. out on bond and working to determine his competency as Elizabeth's team put in a request for a bond modification. On top of all of this, all the defense attorneys involved in this case are combing through the evidence they have, which, according to Dorian Baum, is very little discovery so far.
We have gotten so little from the state at this point. As has been reported, we've already filed for discovery. We're asking for the state to provide it to us. I've had some minimal communications with the state, but from what I've seen, to be perfectly blunt, when I see a press conference where the state AG is making these hyperbolic, extravagant statements about what he saw, where the sheriff is talking about livestock, is just simply, it's beyond disingenuous, frankly. It appears to me, from what I understand, that these people are really just trying to criminalize poverty and an extremely impoverished family. As many people in the media have already noted and have already discovered, the kids who have been described as feral, been described as illiterate, it's my understanding that as the internet does what it does, it's come out that these older kids have social media pages, Facebook pages, Snapchat pages, which speaks to a couple of things. Number one, if they're so illiterate, how are they posting things online? Number two, if these are kids who are trapped in this place, how are they able to have typically when you see cases where people are trapped or they're not allowed to go do things freely, they're not given internet access, they're not given social media pages. Furthermore, I've seen the inside of this house. I'm pretty sure that the state AG did not see the inside of this house, because when he was making these descriptive statements about what he saw or what he smelled, I'm going to go ahead and guess that he was getting that secondhand from a number of people. And I think for him to come out and again make these hyperbolic statements without himself being really a part of it was just frankly inappropriate.
Gary Sr.'s attorney has also made note of a potential grand jury proceeding, which defendants have a right to. But in such a small county as Vinton, it's complicated.
The grand jury is a secret process. We do not disclose specifics on that. We hope to be having information for that within the next couple of weeks. What I will tell you is this is not Franklin County, who has grand juries every day practically. Normally, Vinton County has a grand jury every other month, which is why the preliminary hearing issue came up, is because we don't have grand jury that often, and by right, the defendants have the ability to have that hearing.
As the prosecution and defense fight back and forth about the details of this case, there's one thing they can all agree on. This was not a case of human trafficking.
I know some of the people have been talking about the possibility of a human trafficking ring. That's not what this is. That is not what this is. So it's not like you have kids from all over creation that have been trafficked through it. That is distinctly not what this situation is.
And while the defense argues the conditions of the home couldn't have been as deplorable as they're being made out to be, the Attorney General stands by his comments.
I think all of us throughout our careers in public safety and in criminal justice have been in some pretty bad scenes as far as just conditions. This probably was the worst scene that I've been in as far as the deplorable conditions. There's a search warrant, there's a secondary search warrant going on right now at the property to continue the investigation. It's my understanding that it may not even be safe for our deputies and the agents to go into certain places of the house because again, it's just deplorable conditions you cannot even imagine people being in, let alone children living in.
On June 7th, all four defendants waived their rights to preliminary hearings. The next step in this case is expected to be the grand jury hearing, though we're not sure when that will take place as it's secret. I'm just going to come out and say this case is crazy. There's so much going on and truly so much to unpack. And we walk you all through it, the facts as we have them right now. But here's the moment you guys have all been waiting for. The expert guest who knows this case inside and out. It's Law and Crime's very own host of Crime Fix, Anjanette Levy. Anjanette, I think this is your first time on Scandal. Thank you for coming on.
I think it is my first time. Thank you for having me. This will be really fun that we get to unpack this together.
Yeah, I'm so excited because we're coworkers. I've known you for years, but you are really the one who is spearheading this case. I mean, you're the one who's on top of all of it. And interestingly, I'm sure a lot of our viewers know you are out of Ohio. You're from Ohio. So my first question for you is, can you explain this area for me in Ohio?
Yeah, definitely. So Vinton County is a rural area. It's very beautiful for people who don't know. It's very green down there. Lots of, some lakes and things of that nature. There's not a lot of people who live there. The population's around 13,000, maybe a little less. But it's a beautiful area, but it's also an area that's pretty poor. It's down kind of in Appalachia, and there are a lot of hardworking, good people who live down there. But there are also a lot of people who struggle to make ends meet. So I actually went to summer camp down there when I was in junior high once. I had one summer camp excursion ever in my whole life, and it was in Vinton County, and it was beautiful down there. So it's a really interesting area.
It seems very picturesque, but to your point, especially since I've kind of dove into this case, it does seem it's a very small area that maybe not the most amount of money in the county. And then to see something of this, I mean, I know that you've worked in news for years. You've covered literally thousands of cases across the country and world. Have you ever come across anything like this?
Well, I've come across a lot of cases where children have been found, living in awful, horrific conditions.
Well, you guys know the Turpins in California, they had their kids chained to beds and shit. They're pulling chain locks off their necks and everything. And then there's another case where they had their kids held up in the barn, and they were adopted kids, and they were treating them as slaves. There's some fucking horrible people out here, yo. Horrible, horrible people. And I'm sorry, anybody that does anything to kids, I don't have no love lost for you. I don't care. Anything in the world could happen to you, and I wouldn't mind one bit. I wouldn't.
However, I've not come across a case where they went in and discovered 16 children who apparently belong to one set of parents
That's
in one
wild.
room. It's been described as 12 by 12. They said that was an estimate. And they claim these kids were
Oh,
in
yeah,
a
it's
room
close
where
to
there
a
was
train track.
feces, that there were flies and cockroaches, that type of thing. So, I have covered cases and really horrific, awful child endangering cases, but I haven't covered one where they came out and said, yeah, we went in and we found 16 children ranging in age from 1.5 to 18, and they're all in the same room, and nobody knew they were there. The law enforcement agents and the attorney general claims that they talked to the neighbors, and the neighbors didn't know there were kids living there, which is stunning to me, because if you have kids, that it's hard to keep them still for long at all. You would think these kids might be out in the neighborhood running around, riding bikes. And there was even a bike that we saw in one of the photos from outside the house. But it appears that nobody really knew that children were living in this home, at least from what we've been told thus far.
That to me is so crazy, because I picture my childhood street, and I remember there was one family that we called a big family, and they had 4 daughters, and that was a big family, quote unquote. Right. So to have 16 kids and essentially keep them hidden away so that the neighbors don't even know they're there, that is crazy. I'm just going to say it. And okay, so I have a lot of questions about this case, and let's start with the search warrant, because you and I were talking before we were recording, but I want all of our viewers to know about this. So there's been some misconception about what led to the search warrant, why it was.
I think they only had one vehicle, and it looked like it had mold and shit in it.
There's some reports about the indecent exposure with Gary Jr. But can you explain, do we even know why the search warrant was served in the first place?
Yeah, we don't. It's really kind of wild, because the Vinton County Sheriff's Office, and they were being assisted by the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation, which is not uncommon in that area because these are smaller law enforcement agencies. They got a search warrant, and they went there to investigate and look for evidence of some sort of crime. And I think because these 4 misdemeanor public indecency counts were filed against Gary Jr.
I agree,
on the same date the search warrant was executed. People kind of thought, oh, it's related to that. I've been told it's not part of that misdemeanor case, that this is something else. What that something else is, I wish I could tell you. I don't know, because the search warrant affidavit, that's the document they supply to the judge in order to say, look, we have probable cause, you need to give us the warrant. That's sealed. The search warrant is also sealed. I have the order sealing both of these documents, and nobody knows why they went there. But what we do know is that when they went in to serve the search warrant, to execute the search warrant, they were surprised when they found these children all kind of huddled, I guess, in a room together. So that was not something they expected to find when they went into the house. So
imagine going through the house, man. You're busting open doors, and you bust open a door and you find 16 kids huddled in that motherfucker. Holy moly, my heart would drop. My heart would drop. Just imagine being the cop, dude, that opened that door. And you see 16 kids, man. It ain't 6 kids. It ain't 10 kids. It's 16 kids.
So the initial investigation, why they went to the home, that remains a mystery. And who was the target of that investigation, that also remains a mystery.
So question marks still there, why they went there in the first place. But to your point, it was a shock for them to come into this home. You said it was a 12 by 12 room. That's what the AG said too. 12 by 12 room. They've been compared to living in poorer conditions than livestock, that some of these children are feral. That's one of the quotes. We actually have the soundbite in this episode. And I wanted to ask you about this too, because there's been reports, the Attorney General went on record and said those things, like some of these children can't even speak. But then you spoke to the attorney for Gary Sr., who said, some of these kids had social media. So what can you tell me about the condition of the kids that we know?
Yeah, I mean, their level of literacy and their ability to speak. I'm not so sure we have a definitive answer on that. Some of the older children do have social media accounts. The oldest child is 18, and then there's a 17-year-old. And if
that
you do the
don't
math,
mean
the
anything,
ages go
though.
down from there. And so I found
just because you have a social media account, just doesn't tell me you can spell your name and write it out. Not at all. Especially if they're given those accounts.
Social media accounts for what I believe are at least 3 of the older children. Definitely 2, the 2 oldest children. And so there's not a lot of writing, if you will, typing regarding these kids. But there are a couple of posts here and there on these accounts where they're talking to somebody else. Somebody also shared some screen grabs of private messages between some of the children, the older children, and somebody else, a so-called internet boyfriend, whatever that means, somebody from overseas who was allegedly an internet boyfriend of the older girl, but they have since broken up.
No, they didn't have accounts.
You know, that could be a voice to text type message. We don't know. We don't know how those messages were, you know, initiated or whatever. But there is one that does appear to show one of the girls speaking, saying one word. So I think there are some questions about, okay, can they all really speak? Are they semi-literate? But we know they weren't in school, so they weren't getting any type of official public schooling that we know of. But that's neither here nor there. The kids were in a house, allegedly, kept confined in a house. I'm told they weren't like chained to the wall or anything like that. This is the defense attorney's contention for Gary Sr. He said he's seen nothing that makes this sound like a so-called house of horrors. But I mean, come on, we've got kids that they said were kept in a room and that there was feces in there. There's got flies on them. They had to be rushed to the hospital. And then some of them, one of them at least, had to be intubated. All of these kids have since been released from the hospital.
Stacey, that's what I thought.
So we still don't know their level of literacy, whether or not they are indeed, some of them developmentally disabled, and how bad a shape they were actually in. I mean, were they eating? Were they being fed? Right. These are the key questions that we need answers to.
I mean, yeah. And to your point, no reports here that they're chained up, that this is like a horror movie scenario. Yeah. But at the same time, if they were living among feces, at the very least, that's unsanitary.
The kitty
that
in the doorway,
to, disease, infection,
the little black and white kitty.
So many really, really difficult things. And I guess this leads into my next question.
When they go get the kitty cuddle, you can go get him. He's probably still there.
Question two is, we've talked about this county is, very small in terms of population. Where do these kids go from now? Because they all need to be placed somewhere safe. And I will say that the attorney general, the prosecuting attorney, everyone has said the number one thing here is that the kids are safe. Like, that's our number one goal. So what happens to the kids now?
Well, the kids, from everything I understand, have been placed in foster care. And whether those are families in Vinton County, maybe they've gotten some assistance from surrounding counties. We don't know. That information is always kept private when children are placed with specific families and things like that. But it was certainly going to place a strain on the social services agencies there in that small county. So it's our understanding these children have all been placed with some type of foster families. There are times
when me go get him for you. I don't know
when
about
they will
that.
find family members who they believe are suitable to care for children. But we're talking 16 children here, and some of them are toddlers. That's a lot to take care of. The older children may require a little less, direct hands-on care. But when you've got little kids running around, that's a lot. And we're talking 16 kids. So we're told they're all safe and in good places. But certainly placing 16 children,
the
I
little
think
black
even in
and
Bexar
white
County
kitty,
would still be a challenge.
Yeah, and you're right. There's different levels here. I mean, the younger kids, maybe they're not even potty trained at this point.
Right.
We don't know the various levels of whatever. So that it is tough. It's great to hear that they're all in safe places now. But I guess the next question too, we've talked about how there are 16 victims here, but there's another question mark if potentially there's a 17th. And by that, I mean Elizabeth. Okay, so this is the mother. She has been charged, but there's a question mark as to whether she is a victim here too, because as we reported, you were the one who found this, 15 years old when she got married. She had to go across state lines into West Virginia to get married, which is interesting to say the least. She's pretty much had kids almost every single year since then. She's now 33 years old. And her brother.
Could you imagine getting married at 15 and then staying pregnant until just now? Come on, man. That dude was torturing her, man. That's torture, bro. That's torture. Why would you want your woman to go through that? Wouldn't you want your woman unpregnant for a while? I would. I'd be like, okay, can we stop for a minute? I don't want your ass pregnant the whole fucking time. Like, come on. Amazing. Like you want your woman blew up like a blimp the whole time you're with her. What? Hell no. Be like, man, stop. You can't get pregnant right now, man. Like I feel like I just wouldn't want to do that to her. I would want my woman to be able to live a regular life. Yeah, buy a video game system. Buy maybe, I don't know. Well, there's definitely something wrong here. Anybody screwing that much, there's something wrong. They're sex addicts or something. They have to be. They have to be. It's a lot of screwing, man. Yeah, sounds like it to me.
Mother has gone online and said, I believe she was indoctrinated. What can you tell us about the Elizabeth of it all?
Yeah, so that's what we know is that Elizabeth, she grew up in Gallia County. That's a neighboring county to Vinton, and again, a county that's in Appalachia that is rural. It's not a wealthy county.
Might be right.
She grew up in a family. It's my understanding she met Gary Jr. and his family. They were all living in the same mobile home park years ago. Her brother, one of her older brothers, said that Elizabeth was indoctrinated. Now, into what? We don't know what that means. I mean, indoctrination can mean a lot of things. And this is his claim on Facebook. Right. He also said, he hadn't seen her in a long time until recently, but he also said that she chose to follow this family. So it appears that Elizabeth got pregnant, married Gary Jr. in West Virginia when she was 15. He was 18. She had a baby a short time later. She was pregnant when they got married. And then, she had babies almost every year since. So what she was allegedly indoctrinated into, according to her brother, I don't know. There's been another Siders family member who's spoken out and said that he was of the understanding that Elizabeth didn't have a great home life back then. Yeah. I don't know. It's just, I have a lot of questions because I just know if I were 15 and I went to my mom and said, I want to marry somebody, she would say, have you lost your mind? You're not marrying anybody. You will be, I would have been under my mom's thumb. There's no way I would have been marrying somebody at age 15.
So they had 2 vehicles there, it looked like. A truck and a car.
In 17, I mean, right. It just wouldn't have happened. So something, I think there are a lot of questions about what was going on back then with all of that. And then why her family hasn't seen her, it sounds like, until somewhat recently. It's very strange. It's
craziness, bro.
I've often wondered too, is there a religious component to all of this? Right. Because Christina Siders, who goes by Lynn, I know you mentioned that earlier, on her Facebook account, there's a lot of imagery of God, Jesus, crosses, the Lord's Prayer. Okay. Is there a religious component here? And Tommy Stolley, I just saw a recent interview with him. He's the attorney representing Elizabeth. He said he spoke with her and, talked about all these children. And he claims she said they always wanted a big family. I mean, this is like a big family on steroids. Right. This is not just a big family. This is a huge family. And he said that she said that children are a blessing from God. All children are a blessing from God. So I'm kind of at a loss as to what is going on here.
Oh, no, man. Oh, no, man. So she could have been indoctrinated into some religious type stuff here. Like, keep having babies. You're like, they're blessings from God. Like, and who knows how deep it could go, into the brain. Who knows?
Is there a religious component here? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
That is a huge question. A lot of people have. When I'm just talking to my friends,
and you got to treat them like
everyone
that.
Has said,
Facts,
religion, what's going on here? And I think that's one of the things we got to keep following this case to see what's going to come out.
You got to treat them well if you're going to keep having them.
Most of her adult life, and that leads me to my next question. Gary Sr. Okay, so you were the one who spoke to his attorney. We have sound bites featured throughout our entire episode here. He has since been released into the hospital, and obviously there are HIPAA laws here. We can't know exactly what his condition is, or whatever, all of that. But
Yeah,
what
they
do we
keep
know
the
right
place
now about
clean.
Gary
They got
Sr.?
their kids
Well, we know
working.
he's 73 years old.
Facts.
Photos I've found of Gary and Lynn on Facebook show that the photos, nobody puts horrible photos on Facebook, right? But the photos I have seen of those two, they looked clean. They were dressed as normal people are dressed. They did not look dirty or anything like that. But these photos are a couple of years old. Gary is 73 years old. He appeared in court in a wheelchair, and his attorney said he has some mobility issues, and he complained of some pain. He had him checked out. He fell, actually, when they were supposed to be going to court for the preliminary hearing.
Fell on his own.
He fell. They took him to the hospital to get him checked out, and then
Yeah,
more
if
serious
the house was clean and kept it up, yeah, we could see a different story here. It could be an amazing story of a woman having so many kids and keeping things in order. This is keeping things in order. This is she'd be rich. She could have a show, But they instead decided to keep them all in a fucking room. It's a good point. That's a very, 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 very good point.
condition was discovered, so they had to send him to a hospital that was equipped to deal with that more serious medical condition. So there's something going on with him, and there are also questions about whether he's actually able to understand what's going on around him. Because if you watch his first court appearance, he did.
From what I was reading through Facebook and shit, is this young man. I'm calling him a young man because he's much younger than me. This Gary Siders Jr. guy is next to take heed of the family, right? Because his pops is going downhill fast as fuck. You see what I'm saying? And his mom is too. So you're next to take over. And what I'm reading is like he couldn't do it. He ain't all there. He's not a real man. He wasn't going to take care of the family. And this is what we got started dealing with. It's just trash build up, fucking living like schmuck. Well, you make everybody clean up after themselves. That helps a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of mouths to feed, man. You think he's all there? Well, obviously not. Nobody all there would live like this. Especially a man that age that's supposed to be the man of the house. He's literally supposed to be the man of the house. Especially if Pops is doing that damn bad. Like, you're supposed to take over all bills, When my mom got cancer and started going down, I had to move in with her and take over all the bills and everything. But it didn't end up like that. I'll tell you that much. Hell no. So, like, I don't know. I don't know how you feed that many children. Earlier reports said only the older couple received government assistance. Jesus, man. Trying to take care of that whole family on two people's fucking assistance. Damn. Hi, Hillbilly.
Didn't really seem to understand what was going on.
Hi, Regina.
His attorney, Dorian Baum, filed a motion requesting a competency exam.
Yeah.
And
Yada, yada,
also,
yada.
To see if he might be not guilty by reason of insanity, which doesn't mean like, oh my God, he's insane, but just does he have some type of mental issue or a mental condition that prevents him from understanding that whatever was going on in that house was wrong. It's whether or not you can understand the wrongfulness of your actions or inaction, that type of thing. So that evaluation will be conducted.
There's a lot of trash.
He will be assessed to see what his understanding of everything happening is and what his cognitive abilities are at this point. So there are a lot of questions when it comes to Gary Sr. And there are questions about whether he'll even be released from the hospital. The prosecutor said if he's released, he'll be on GPS monitoring and he is not a threat to the community.
Yeah. Wow. I
So,
feel
Gerald-
like every question that I ask you, we talk about it and we speculate.
Now, where's he going? Is he going back to that house? Like what? He'll have GPS monitoring on, but where the hell's he going? Are they going back to that house? I mean, that's where they live, right? That's wild. So if they all bond out, where do they go? I mean, they live there, right? County boarded up that house. Good. 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 Good.
And you report the facts, and then it's like, well, we still don't know. There's still so many more
Right.
questions.
I mean, we're telling you what we know,
Right.
what we definitely know, but there's so much we don't know. We really don't.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And
we
I guess
don't
that can
know.
kind of be my last question as we're wrapping this up. What do you anticipate for the future? I mean, any future court hearings, or what can we expect in terms of the justice system as it moves on? I know you talked about competency. So for Gary Sr., that's going to be a big thing. But what about the other 3 defendants? What's ahead?
Well, Elizabeth, her lawyer, has filed a motion requesting that she be released. He said she doesn't have any money. She's indigent. She's poor. She can't put up any money, and her bail right now is $300,000. He said she is agreeable to doing the GPS monitoring. She would not be a danger to the public. She would report to her bail officer, things of that nature.
Look how much better that young lady's hair looks, dude. Now that she got some Bob Barker soap in her hair. Those of y'all that's been to jail know about that Bob Barker soap. It ain't no joke. It's like lye. Y'all know what lye is? It's like lye soap. That Bob Barker boy. Look at her hair. Look at it. Looks good, doesn't it? I think, doesn't it? That young lady hasn't had a shower or bath or a shower in who knows how long. Definitely Bob Barker soap. You don't know about Bob Barker? Bob Barker from Price is Right. His company owned the rights to all the soap, all of the toothpaste, all the toothbrushes, like I think something like the little shampoo bottles. It was all Bob Barker stuff, and it was given to jails and everywhere. Everywhere. Yeah, he owned that. Bob Barker owned that. Bob Barker's gone now, but his company still owned it. Yep. She looks much cleaner. Look at her hair. It's flowing at the bottom. Like it's not like natted up and like she actually scrubbed that hair. Good for her.
Nature. So he wants her released without putting up any type of cash bail, which I find interesting. I will be very interested given the fact that during one of the press conferences, somebody asked Prosecutor Archer, the Vinton County prosecutor, something like, her attorney's saying you're investigating whether Elizabeth is a victim. And he kind of had a really interesting response to that. He said, well, her attorney says she's not a victim. But what her attorney has said is that he's still investigating whether she was a victim. So that made me wonder if the prosecuting attorney is kind of tipping us off a little bit, saying, like, look, this lady's not a victim. We don't know that for sure. But
heard that kitty? You see that kitty? We will save him. You see that little kitty? Hi, Pringles. What's up, Pringles? You see that little kitty? Yeah, no shower, but still having sex. Imagine that. Nasty. Yeah. You see that little kitty? That little kitty needs a home. A good home. He's got a little beard. He's got a goatee. Look. He needs a home. That little kitty needs a home. He has a little beard. Yeah, he's cute. He needs a home, guys.
I'm wondering if the prosecutor is going to file a response to that motion saying, don't, no, we oppose.
No, they said that the only two people in the household that were getting assistance are the grandma and grandpa. The rest of them had no assistance. It seems to be almost normal. Mm.
Holy shit.
Best comment of the night, yada mean. Yup, best comment of the night. This seems to be almost normal in Appalachia.
This motion. That's what I'm wondering. So we're gonna have to see if there's a hearing about Elizabeth being released on bail, whether that will be argued against strenuously by the prosecutor.
Go get him. Did you see him? Look at him. He has a goatee. He just needs a bath. He just needs a bath. Maybe he needs fixed, but he's got a beard. Bob Barker shoes, Keefy coffee. Oh, we don't want to talk about the Keefy coffee, man. Keefy coffee? Yeah. That's the shit, dude.
By the prosecutor. Also,
He
Gary
has a
Jr. has
beard.
those 4 public indecency counts. He was supposed to be in court for that this past week. That court date has been moved. His attorney couldn't attend. So,
Yeah. Yep. You got stupid shit if you didn't have any money if you were locked up. That's a fact. Go to jail without no money, you're fucked. You're going to starve. I don't know. In some of these small jails, they feed you good. I did notice that. In the big jails, though, they feed you shit ball. Yeah, that little kitty just needs a bath. Go take that cat. Do it. I love
we'll be
kitties.
looking to that. And then the grand jury, they're going to have to impanel a grand jury to hear this case.
You're
And then
funny,
once the
T-Roller.
grand jury hears the case, there could be even more charges stemming from that initial investigation that brought them to the home in the first place.
So they got a bike. There's a bike. There's like a trike thing over here. So like there were toys.
So I think the bottom line here is we're still so early on. I mean, thankfully these kids were rescued, they were treated, they're now in a safe place. But to your point, we haven't even had a grand jury convened yet. There's still so much ahead. And as I said at the top of the interview, Anjanette, you've been on top of this case, covering it from start to whenever it finishes. So thank you so much for giving us some of your time and kind of walking us through the case today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey man, that was a good video. That was a damn good video. So I mean, it broke it down for us. You know, I want you guys to look over here though. We're gonna take a look over here. Look at these pictures, dude. Look at these pictures, bro. Look at that. Fucking look at that, yo. That's one of the rooms. Okay, let's say they weren't being mistreated, right? Like, but needless to say, they were living like that, y'all. They were living like this. Like, this is conditions of extreme neglect, y'all. Like, there's nothing for a child to do with all this trash. Like, how? No, this is their home. This is their home. Like, dude, look at this. Look at this. That's foul, bro. Look at how they're living, yo. Look at this house. Hey, have a good one, Lisa. Much love, girl. Look at that room, man. Look at that. That's the basement, yo. Look at that. Look at the mold. Look at the fucking filth, y'all. Yeah, the body cam footage is going to be wild, bro. It's going to be serious. Like, what's going on, man? You got 16 children. I mean, what were you doing? Just pitching your trash into the basement? Oh, this is cockroach heaven right here. Yeah, I'm getting ready for the fight too. I'll be jumping off here in a minute. I was wrapping up soon. Got to get ready for that fight. This is like, what were you doing? Pitching your trash into the basement? Like, these are horrifying conditions. Look at the car, yo. Look at the car with the mold. Look at this. This is how you ride, bro. This is how you ride. No way, Jose. No way, Jose. This is how you riding. Look at this. Ugh. Just cigarette butts and fucking. Ugh. Man. Oh, that's fucking rough, man. That's fucking rough. Yeah, I'm going to watch the replay. I got a couple shows to watch tonight. Everybody in this motherfucking chat, I appreciate all you badasses in this mug. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to those that aren't living that way. Straight up. Shout out to those that aren't living that way. Okay? Appreciate y'all. You're probably right, Dumper. You're probably right. Hey, this was a great live. This was a great live. I appreciate the love, y'all. This was a great fucking live. Y'all are the best. You know what? I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Same time, same place, same channel. You guys make sure you hug your kids, man. Hug your family. Let them know you love them. I appreciate y'all. See you tomorrow.